The world of the future. Human beings are genetically modified. A year of time is stored on a timer in the arm at birth. At the age of 25, a countdown will start. As long as the time does not run out, they will not age or die. Immortality can be achieved at 25 years of age, and the time stored on the arm. Not only is it used to sustain life, but it is also the only currency in circulation. You can say that if you have time, you have everything. As nice as it sounds, but the pressure to survive is too great for the poor. No time to rest. You have to run to get anywhere. Every day, poor people die in the streets after running out of time. The main character, Hans, is a poor man living at the bottom of the social ladder. He works constantly. His wages are pitifully low. Prices are rising rapidly. A cup of watered-down coffee takes 4 minutes, and he can't fight it. The only thing he does for fun is go to the pub with his friends after work and drink. This day he met a rich man who had been here for a century. You know how little time slum dwellers have. A man with a month's worth of time is a rich man. A century is like a moving gold mine. Hans had kindly warned him that he shouldn't be here. He's likely to be targeted by time robbers. But the rich man didn't care. Sure enough, within minutes the robbers were on him. Hans leads the rich man on the run. When he was safe, he asked him, "Have you lost your mind? Why did you come to such a dangerous part of town?" The rich man laughed bitterly and said, "You don't understand. I wake up every day from a bed of over 50,000 square meters, faced with over 200 beautiful maids. I've been hungry for 105 years. I need a boost." Hans was shocked. It turns out that people in the richer districts can achieve immortality. Some even got tired of living and wanted to die. The government is still trying to raise prices and taxes so that most poor people die. The aim is to keep the Earth's population balanced. Hans was angry and helpless. If he had that much time, he would never waste a second of it. So the next day, the rich man gave Hans his remaining century, hoping that he could change this perverse society, leaving only 5 minutes to kill himself, with a century to spare. Hans, first he found his best mate and split the decade. Then he prepares to surprise his mother when she returns from work. Little did he know that the bus she usually took had gone up in price. It's gone from an hour to 2 hours. After paying off her mortgage, she had no money for the bus. She had no money for the bus after paying off her mortgage. Hans felt something was wrong. He came running towards her. It was just a second before her mother died in Hans' arms. It hit Hans hard. With nothing else to worry about, he decided to leave the city and go to the rich neighborhood to make whoever killed his mother pay. But Hans, who was used to running, he doesn't seem to fit in here. He attracts the attention of a rich girl, Jenny. Jenny is no ordinary rich girl. Her father is the chairman of the Time Bank, which has a global presence. As long as nothing happens to her, she's basically immortal. That night, Hans and her father have a tense and exciting game of time. Jenny's dad's bet is 1,000 years. He wanted to scare Hans off. As a casino veteran, what's the point of playing if you don't have the guts? Hans put his life on the line. Not only did he win the money, he got to go to a dinner party at a rich family's house. He met Jenny's grandmother and mother. Then it's a dance and a chat between the two. Jenny complains. Being a rich person, Dad was worried about her being taken hostage. There were 2 bodyguards following her everywhere she went. She can't do anything she wants to do. The eternal life is too boring. So Hans took Jenny to the beach to play. The two fell in love. Soon the timekeepers came. They thought Hans had killed the rich man of the century before him and stole his time. The guardians took it away without giving him any chance to explain, leaving only 2 hours to make a statement. The man committed suicide. Oh, you mean a man who wakes up every day from a bed of over 50,000 square meters, facing over 200 beautiful maids. A rich man with over a century of time on his hands would be bored and want to kill himself, and then doesn't forget to spend all his time with you? Who'd believe it? Hans took Jenny as a hostage and left the place, but on his way back to the slum, he had a car accident. The car fell off the road. While they were unconscious, the time robbers appeared and stole Jenny's time. The two had only 1 hour left. They had to make a desperate escape. They arrived at their friend's house. It turned out that Hans had given him 10 years of his time. He used it all to drink. The friend is dead. The two of them were running out of minutes. Jenny rushed to exchange the diamond earrings for 2 days. Hans called the rich man, hoping he would give him 1,000 years to come to the poorhouse for his daughter. Then Hans took Jenny to the ghetto. He told her about the real life in the slums. At last, Jenny has a real understanding of the place, and she feels even more sorry for Hans' life. The next day, Hans found out that the soup kitchen had not been given time because the rich man thought that this would throw the world out of order. It would shake up his fundamental interests as a ruler. Disappointed, Hans prepares to let Jenny go home. Just then the police arrive. Jenny rushed to shoot the police with tranquilizer bullets. The two men then grabbed the police car and prepared to flee. Jenny is devastated by her family. She decided to stay with Hans and free the poor, doing something crazy, so they set out on a plan to rob the time bank. They opened the time bank straight away. Open it up to the poor for free, giving out time everywhere. They became the most wanted criminals, but those who were helped were grateful. No one turned them in. The police can't even find them. Only the time robbers go to great lengths, killing one person after another. Finally, they found out where the two men were. But the robbers wanted to humiliate Hans by gambling. The two men began to arm wrestle. However, Hans pinned the robber with only 10 seconds left, although he escaped with his life. But overnight, the cost of living in the slums had skyrocketed. No matter how long they robbed, wouldn't change the rich's hold on the poor, and they couldn't escape the timekeeper. Jenny had an idea. She pretended to surrender to her father to attract attention. Hans blended in with the bodyguards and took control of him. He stole 1,000,000 years of time in one fell swoop. Then they fled back to the ghetto, giving all the time to the poor. But he didn't have much time left, and then the police arrived. They had to run as fast as they could. They were eventually intercepted by the police. In these final moments, they thought they were dead. Who would have thought? The policeman was running out of time too. Turns out he didn't have a lot of time either, just barely surviving on his meager salary. And he had just failed to collect his pay in time because he was chasing two people. That's what killed him. Hans had only 1 minute left. In the police car that had just driven up, the unpaid wages were still there. Hans was running like a madman. Jenny was chasing after him. After he had collected his time, he ran frantically towards her again. He really didn't want to lose his beloved once more. This time, he finally caught up. By now, the poor were flocking to the richer areas as a result. Society was in chaos. The timekeeper didn't want to care either. The two men were in an unsupervised world. The two men turned into grand thieves and robbed time everywhere. This is the end of the story. The idea of the film is very original and worth watching. Well, that's it for today. If you like it and subscribe.